Hey there guys, and welcome back to another episode of Factorio 0.17 Vanilla Start to Finish. I'm Xterminator, and welcome back. So, I've crafted some rails. I've pre-crafted about 300 plus rails, and I've also pre-crafted some engines. So, we haven't really looked at engines yet, but they're pretty straightforward. They just require some steel, gear wheels, and pipes, and I just did some temporary two little assemblers here to get this set up. So, we have 49 engines, and then we have like the 300 rails. So first thing first is we need to make some locomotives. I'm gonna make two, because that's all we have engines for. They take 20 engines apiece. And then we're gonna make some of these fluid wagons. I'm gonna do two of them. Now these fluid wagons actually have more mass and weigh more than the cargo wagons. So typically, if I were doing two of these, I'd like to do about 2 locomotives per end of the train, but we don't really have enough engines for that at the moment, so I'm just going to do one, and it's not like this distance and stuff, and for the state of the game we're at, is not going to be super high throughput demand, so I'm okay with the train moving a little bit slower. I also cleared a few trees around here so we can set up the other refineries and stuff for the solid fuel. And I also pre-crafted the pump jacks, so I think we're about ready to go. Last thing to do here is craft some of these power poles. I'm going to need a bunch of iron sticks, but those are easy enough to make. Just grab some more steel here. And we actually were out of copper, interestingly. And we're going to go set this up. Now, I was thinking, we did decide last episode that we're going to do military. And I was actually thinking it may actually be smart of me to do military before blue, because, like I mentioned, doing this blue science or chemical science takes a lot of infrastructure, because you have to set up all the oil, and then I have to do an advanced circuit build, which is a fairly extensive process in itself. Whereas military, we're actually equipped to build this right now. And I was considering doing that this episode, but I did want to work on the train bit and oil, because I said that's what we were going to do. So what we may do is get the train going, at least set up and stuff, and set up the stops. And then next episode, maybe work on the military and get that done, so then we can actually have that working as well on some research and while we work on the oil. So that's kind of the plan. So let's run on over here. I, for some reason, put a miner there. I think I was thinking of expanding this and then didn't quite get around to it. And our power looks very good. So I just did some more research. That's the last of the military research we can really do without military packs. Let's get inserter capacity bonus. So this allows inserters to move additional items per swing, basically, like they can hold more in their hands. So that's really good. Robotics is certainly good. This allows us to get robot frames to start working towards the little autonomous robot. So let's head on over here. We have pipes-ish. We can actually make a ton of pipes. I forgot to pick up normal pipes, but we have a lot of iron to make those. Now, if we had rail bridges, I would just go straight across, but we don't. So we're just gonna have to go around, do, like I said, do a little bit of a wibbly wobbly track. Also, I've seen tons of questions on multiple episodes of this series about how I had the research queue to begin with. I actually just released earlier today a video, a little short tutorial on how to get that, multiple ways you can get it. So definitely check that out. Basically, it's an option when you first start the game, which I showed in the first episode of the series, how to get it. If you've already started a game and didn't check that, there's also a mod that'll do it for fix it for you. But like I said, you can check out the video. Okay, so we're just gonna set these up. Okay, so there's that. There's this. And then we can kind of figure out our piping. So I'm actually going to undo this. I'm going to turn these guys to face inwards, because that way we can kind of share this pipe space. So I'm going to underground to here. And then I'm going to do this and this and that. And do something like this. I'm using undergrounds just because it's like in the spacing, just because it's a little cleaner. Allows me to walk through here a bit better. There we go. So one thing you don't really want to do when connecting these, and I still do it by accident sometimes, is you don't want to create like a loop, right? So for example, I would not want to like take this and hook it up to this one and then have this pipe over here come down and go to the train, because then we've created like a weird loop. I mean, I could do that. Rather, what I'm saying is don't like connect this one to this pipe and have this one connect over here, because then you've like created this loop here. Instead, we're going to connect this guy over to here, and these pumps all kind of have their own little, well, pump built in. So it shouldn't really backflow too much because the pressure is going to be pushing down this way anyway. It doesn't always work out, so later on we may need to actually throw some actual pumps on this. We can actually make some here, these pumps here. These take electric engines. They changed it a little bit ago, though. Luckily, they only take normal engines now. And let's get some of these power poles. We don't have substations yet. Substations are like the final power pole, but they're a little bit away. These will do, though. Oh my goodness. These ghosts. Sometimes it's hard to tell if it's a ghost or not, so I go and place it thinking that I actually managed to place it. So these power poles are not really clean, but it's not like I'm going to be like building here that often. So we don't really want to put the train here. Well, actually we could. I could like weave around. Like I said, this is gonna be a very very unique track. It's gonna have some character. Okay, so we've placed that. Now we need a train stop. So, first things first with trains. And this got me good. This got me real good when I first started playing. I almost just rage quit the game completely because I could not figure this out. It's a bit more clear now than when I started playing because they've added a lot more indicators and stuff. But the first thing to note is where to put your stop, because this is going to determine if your trains work or not. The train stop needs to always, it doesn't matter what direction the train's facing or anything, it always has to be on the right-hand side of the train from the train's perspective. So if you imagine you're in the locomotive as the driver, this stop needs to be on your right-hand side, right? So if we have a train coming in from right to left, okay, we're driving it, our right-hand side is going to be up here, okay? Because, like I said, better indicators now. You'll see this way, it shows that the train would be going the wrong direction, but still, it's good to know. If I were to put it this way, and then try to have a train come in from right to left, it just wouldn't work. You would assign it to the station, and it would sit there saying no path, and it would never move. And this drove me absolutely crazy when I first started. So, we need to put this here. When you mouse over it, you can see these indicator boxes. And this is really nice. Added a few updates ago. This basically shows you the spacing of where things are going to be. So, this first one is where the locomotive is going to be. So if we take a locomotive, and if you actually have a station down already, it will snap it to this correct orientation. You can see there. And we just got an achievement, build a locomotive. And then these guys, you want to make sure you have that little green line circle there to make sure it connects. If you don't, you can see here, it's obviously not connecting. So we do that, and then we take another one, and I'm going to put it this way and face it the other way with R. Now, there's multiple ways you can build trains. I personally always prefer what we would call a double-headed train, with a train in the front and a train in the back. At least here in the US, the trains, and I think just pretty much everywhere in real life, trains do this, right? Because they can go forward and backwards pretty easily. In Factorio, a fair bit of people like to build them without this one in the back. They just do it this way. And then you need a turnaround, right? So I can't build here because there's cliffs, but if we do it, this would come out this way, right? And then it would like continue on and turn around this way, right? To send it back the other direction and then hook back into the track. So it would kind of create a little loop. And then this also would kind of change a bit on how your junctions work. And there's nothing wrong with this. In some cases, this is actually a very advantageous way to do it. In my bases, I just prefer doing it this way because it makes a lot more sense in my head. In terms of building stops and junctions, it just works a lot better for me. But it may not for you. Okay, so we have all that. This needs some power. We obviously didn't run power up here yet. But we're going to set up a big power pole here. I really like this big power pole graphic. These, not so much, but these ones I do. Okay, so we're going to need some tanks, because obviously we want to be able to hold more liquid than just what's in the pipe. So there's a few ways we can do this. First off, we should probably take our pumps. And again, the pumps only work in the liquid wagons. You can't pump into these wagons. You can barrel liquids, as you can see here, and then you would use an inserter to insert them into the other normal wagons. I used to be a huge fan of barreling, but a few patches ago, a few updates ago, they nerfed it quite heavily to the point where I just don't even like using it anymore because it's just horribly inefficient. So we're going to use pumps, and you can see here, this will show you can fit 3. There's 3 separate tanker things in this one tanker. This can hook into any of the 3. So we're going to do one on each side. And we're going to take a tank. And again, you saw that indicator that it's actually hooking on. And we're going to turn them like this. It looks nice. It works good. We're going to do that. And then we're going to do that. And this guy is off to the side, but it does hook in. As long as you get that yellow box, it is hooking up. If I stick it like over here, obviously it's going a locomotive. This should still work. We'll know for sure once we power it on, because these will actually reach up and connect to the wagon. So if it doesn't line up correctly, it won't do that. So it's gonna do something like that. Oh my goodness, these again, I had thought that I'd placed it. Oh my gosh. All right, there we go. Okay, so that's what this is gonna do. And then now we need to hook this up. So this is where it gets a little tricky when you have 2 separate things here, and this, because of how fluids work, this is quite frustrating sometimes. Because if we just connect this, say like this, what's going to happen is this tank section is going to fill up pretty much entirely before this one gets anything. Which means this train's going to sit here forever because it's filling up one of these before it even starts filling up the other one. So there's a few ways we could fix this. Mostly, you can kind of counteract this with pumps. So, for example, we were to take this pipe here. There's a little bit more excessive piping, and this may or may not work. I'm not an expert at this type of stuff. I just kind of yell at things until they work with fluids. But if we do this, the pumps kind of force it to do more of an even split here, right? Because the pumps don't allow backflow. So it's going to pull this way and this way simultaneously, which theoretically should hopefully allow this to fill somewhat evenly. We'll see how that works once we power it on. So all that's hooked up. We have our train. Now we need to do this track. And I'm just clicking here, and I'm not even holding a mouse button. It'll just do it this length. And then I click for another section, and then you just kind of turn it like you just move your mouse where you want it. Now, if you want to do ghosts, like if you have robots, you just hold shift as you would for anything else, and then the distance is kind of unlimited, as you can see here. But we don't have robots yet, so I don't want to do that. I could go all the way around here, but then I'd be going through the copper patch. I think we can weave it through this section here. Real question is if we're going to bypass this cliff section. Oh man, that was so close. That's going to be a fun ride. All right. Kind of skirt the edge of this cliff here, chop a few trees away. We want to line up over here-ish. Oh, well, that's going to be a bit difficult. Okay. Oh dear. Okay. Let's like I said, this is going to be a real crazy track. Mr. Bones' wild ride here. Maybe not on like coal fuel, but once we get like rocket fuel in these trains, oh man, this thing is going to be zipping through here. It's like a roller coaster. So like I said, I'm just making this up as I go. This track, I'm just kind of weaving it where I need to. Normally, I would do much cleaner track than this, and I will eventually once we get cliff explosives, or explosives to make the cliff explosives. I'm going to clear these cliffs and actually make it a straight track. So this guy actually needs to come up. My god, this track is so crazy. I don't think we actually brought enough track here. I'm going to be smart, which I should have been smart before, and I'm going to actually hop in our train and stick some fuel in it and manually drive it while I'm doing this because it's a lot faster than walking, obviously. Probably some power would be good. We can do this on the way back, too. Now, normally, so signals, I'm not going to cover signals quite yet. We're not at that stage. And it's a lot of information. I already gave you a lot of information for this. It's a lot to digest if I just throw everything at you at once. Once we kind of fix our track up and do a proper system, I'll go over signaling. The reason we're not doing signaling here is because this is our first train, And there's no other trains on this particular track, so there's no need for signals. Because obviously there's no other train. I mean, you're not going to have any crashing issues or anything like that with your trains. Okay, so we're just gonna hold, and I know you can hold down to do this, but it's on like curves. It can be a little wonky. Okay, so there we go. Just drive through here. Okay, so I'm just holding down left mouse button. This is placing them at the max distance. It's not always the distance away from the track that I want, but it's close enough. There we go. And boom. So I know it's super dark. Unfortunately, I can't place any lights out here yet because I don't have power. But let's build a few more of these. And then we take track. You can actually do this super fast if you're in the locomotive, because I can just drive and place it like way ahead of me like this. We are going to want to turn, actually probably a bit sooner than that, because our power may run into this. Let's back this up a little bit. Okay, let's hang a right here. And let's see, we need to go up a little bit to make sure we can clear this lake. It looks like we can. Oh, that's not what we wanted. And this is crazy track, but I prefer to keep it straight where I can. Okay, we're actually not quite we don't quite have enough rails here. Luckily though, we should be able to connect our power up fairly easily because we have power right here, and I ran it up to that point. So let's connect this power up here, and we'll go make some more rails. They're really quick to make, so it shouldn't be an issue. And then the unload is going to be just the same as the load, except in reverse. We're going to be using pumps to pull the liquid out and put it into tanks, and then send it to where we need to go. And of course, this is on the wrong side of the track. That's okay. It adds some character, right? Sometimes lines cross track sides. Okay, so this should be hooked up. There's no radar. Flying Flynn goes noob. So stations get names based on people who bought a higher level of the game way back when they did that. So that's why some of these stations are going to have really weird names, because people got to put their name in for that. So we just need some steel here to make rail. Let's grab all that. Let's see, I'm going to grab some stone too. I'm not going to hand make these because all those iron sticks for the amount we need is going to be a little bit excessive. Luckily, you do get 2 per craft, like with belt. So, like I said, it goes pretty quick as long as you have the materials for it here. Okay, so we're just going to throw some stone in there, some steel. This guy has plenty of iron. And I'm going to replace these with fast inserters because I want things fast. And another question I think I saw somebody ask is, when do you know when to use fast inserters over normal inserters? And really, it just kind of comes with practice. Like, just because I played so much, I know that once I upgrade these to level 2 assemblers, I'm probably going to need a faster inserter. I happen to know that these that I need fast inserters here. Basically, if you just look at it, I would say anything that takes less than 1 second to make, you're going to either want a fast inserter or multiple normal inserters. These craft every half second, which means one normal inserter, if this were actually running full blast, probably wouldn't be able to insert materials in here quick enough. So basically, for those really fast craft speeds, or if you have really quick assemblers, and once you start putting modules in and beacons, you want faster inserters. Once you start doing modules and beacons, you're actually going to want stack inserters is really what you're going to want. Or alternatively, for recipes that just have a very high ingredient count. So even if they're not super fast, for something like, if we look here for processing units, these guys take 10 seconds, but they require 20 electronic circuits plus 2 advanced circuits. So you're going to probably want fast inserters to do this, right? Because that's 22 items it needs to insert in 10 seconds, which means it basically needs to insert 2 items a second, which with stack size and normal inserter may be able to do. But you kind of just, at some point, personally, I just after a point, I just kind of make everything with fast inserters because I just like it better. But hopefully that kind of answers that question. Let's pre-make a radar over there. So we're going to kind of go in reverse here just because I'm already on this side. So this thing is going to come over here. It's going to pull in over here-ish. I want to make sure we leave enough room to route things. So he's going to kind of pull in over here. We're going to probably have to clear a few more trees. So I cleared a path through here. Almost. There we go. And this thing, what are the chances I can line this up? Let's give it a go. I think I'm one too high. Yeah, I'm one too high. Dang it. That's okay. Stupid trees. Should just hand chop these. I want to save my grenades for those huge cluster of trees. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'll use grenades here. This is a bit much. Of course, I missed the one tree that was right in front of the line. Oh gosh, alright. Coming through. Actually, I was like too high. Some of these rocks actually get coal from too, which is really nice. Okay. Actually, what we can do is we can put a station down and then just tell the train to come here. Okay, so let's use the rest of these grenades to clear out a little bit more trees in front. Try not to bombard our track with these grenades. Oh dear. Okay. There we go. I have enough for one more patch. Okay, so if we stick a station, again, remember on the right-hand side, train's coming in from the right to left, so we do that. And then we just name this, so we'll just name this, so if I click on it, I went through that a little fast. You can, up here, rename station. You can also change the color of stations, which is pretty cool. You can see, you know, I could do, like, pink if I wanted. So we're going to do oil DO, oil drop-off. Right? And then if we take our train, you can click on trains through the map view. You don't even have to have radar coverage. I can just click on it here, or you can zoom in, click on it, doesn't really matter. So this is the new GUI for 0.17. So basically, I can't mess with the fuel when I'm not close to it, but I can mess with all the scheduling. So it actually has a little map view of its own, which is pretty cool. You can toggle station names, toggle centering on locomotive, open this location in map, as you can see. So if we go back here, click on it, add station. I have two stations. I have the oil one, which we already looked at, and I will add it. And then we also have oil drop-off. So the oil station, the one where it picks up oil, I want to rename. The nice thing here is that if you've added it, once you rename it, it'll take that change automatically, and it'll work out. So we have this. Now we need conditions, because without a condition, this is actually, and this is a new feature in 0.17, it'll actually work as a waypoint, meaning that it won't actually stop at the station if you don't put any condition, which could be really nice, but that's not what we want for this particular application. So there's all these: time passed, inactivity, full cargo, empty cargo, item count, fluid count, circuit condition, passenger present or passenger not present. Basically, we could do a fluid count if we want. We could do, usually I do full empty. For this, actually, I am going to do a fluid count because there may be instances where like one side of it empties all the way and one side doesn't quite empty all the way, and then it's going to be sitting there waiting for one side to empty and then like the part that did empty, all those tanks going to be drained and stuff, so it would be very uneven. So if we do a fluid count, click in this little box and you get fluid options. So it's oil that we're moving. Pretty straightforward math symbols, less than, equals, then, less than or equals than, greater than or equal, you know, whatever. I probably moused over the wrong ones when I was saying that, but pretty straightforward symbols here. So if we say oil is less than, now when you mouse over these fluid tankers, you can see how much they carry over here, 25,000, and there's 2. So we have a 50,000 amount to work with. So if I say oil's less than, you can use a drag. I'm just going to type it. I'm going to say if it's less than 40,000. I may change this later, but that allows a little discrepancy. That's actually the wrong station. So one nice thing is we can actually, oh, I cannot, oh, can I drag this? I could drag this. I want to drag it down here. Can I copy paste? No. Okay. Still trying to figure out these new features. Okay, so we'll just do this. This is the station I meant to do that on. So because this is a drop off. For the pickup, we actually can just get rid of that, and we'll just do a full cargo. Boom, easy. Doesn't matter if it's liquid or solid. Once it's full, it'll leave. And then this is the drop off. Okay. So also you can rename stations from the map view. If you click here, we can name this to oil PU pickup 1. There we go. And then if we click on the train, you will see it automatically took that change. So now we can actually call this train here oil drop off. You can see starting to move, and you can actually see the path, which is obviously is the only path he can take. But once you get a full-blown rail system, there could be multiple ways to access a station. And let's not get run over. I'm 1 engine short. No. It reached its condition. Obviously, it had less than 40,000, so we just took off. Not quite what I want. So what we're gonna do? Gonna wait till he gets here. Boom. I'm gonna set it to manual so he's positioned, because what we want is his positioning. So here, I'm short a pump, but same principle applies. Do this. Do this. Once I get another pump, he'll go here. And what I'm going to do is send some of this way, and then send some of it the other way for our solid fuel production over on this side. And that's pretty much it, guys. I know there's still no power in this particular section, but that's okay. Let's hop in this train and ride it over to the thing so we can place a radar, and then I think we'll call it an episode. So he's running on coal. It's the second worst fuel, only 1 up from wood. So not too fast. I mean, but it's still fast, right? I mean, this is way faster than I can run. So you can imagine. Now the higher fuels, actually, I should make a clarification. The higher fuels don't make it go faster. It just gives it more acceleration. But that is still good. So this actually doesn't have power. The pumps don't, because I didn't connect power like a silly person. Okay, so you can see how this one did connect into there. Are you freaking kidding me? There we go. So this guy did connect into here, which is good. Now this is not working. Weird. I don't think there's actually enough oil here. See, again, this is not splitting evenly at all. This is going to take a very long time. Like I said, there's not that much oil here. I mean, if I take these pumps away, this may actually just work better. Let's find out. This is going to take a while, so I'm going to let this run, but I believe this is a good stop for the episode. Between this one and next, I will make that other pump, get this set up, and connect the pipes here, just because that's pretty straightforward. And then next time, we'll probably work on military science, again, because we can get that set up already. Like, we have everything unlocked to do that. And then after that, we will finish the oil stuff. So, first train, which is awesome. I didn't die, which is even more awesome. And we'll see what we can get done here. Yeah, so this is kind of uneven, but that's fluids for you. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it helpful. If you did, feel free to leave a like. And again, any questions or anything you have, do leave in the comments. It may take me a day or so to respond sometimes, but I do my best to respond to questions and stuff like that. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.